Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. And today we're going to do our top 5 fall-off players for 2019. So 5 guys that we don't think can live up to their rank from 2018 for 2019. I might have some overlap here. I'm wondering. I have a feeling. But I thought I was going to have a really easy time with this list, but I got about 5 guys, and I don't even know if I could do it with the 6th. I don't know. You might have more than me.
Yeah, just the 5. I stopped at that.
Yeah,
it was a little more difficult to do.
For some reason it was, but I don't know. We'll get into that just 1 second. Before we do that, make sure you guys go check us out on Twitter at the FF Prophet or Instagram, Fantasy Football Prophet, and YouTube.com/FantasyFootballProphet as well. So our list, we might as well just start with number 5, go to 5 to 1 like we do. I'm curious, who's your number 5?
Number 5, and he is number 5 because, in the situation he is in, he does have a better opportunity of returning to his top 5 status as he did this year. It is in the tight end category, and you will be happy to hear that I believe that Eric Ebron will fall off a bit. He's still in a good situation.
I can see that.
Yeah, but I think he'll have more competition, and he had a ridiculous 13 touchdowns. I don't see that repeating. I think other tight ends have the ability to kind of join him. I think Njoku is a very talented player. Baker Mayfield is taking that next step. O.J. Howard, if he's not hurt. Rob Gronkowski, you never know what he's going to do. Evan Ingram had an off year. So there is a lot of people that could make that jump. I just think Eric Ebron had a very good season, and he will not return to that. And I think right now, because tight end is so shallow, you will have to pay for him to a certain extent. So I really like him to fall off.
Yeah, it's a lot of touchdowns. I don't know. I don't know if he can sustain that next year. I mean, only 66 catches compared to the top guys. He's not there. He's not Ertz, Kittle, Kelsey. He's not one of them. So, I don't know. I don't like Eric Ebron.
I know. I'm actually kind of surprised that you don't have him on your list.
Yeah, well, we'll see. My number 5.
We'll see.
My number 5.
Spoiler alert, everyone.
My number 5. I went with Tyler Lockett at number 5.
Okay.
And I actually think there's going to be some people that are going to have some, pushback on this and think maybe he actually could be a breakout player even more next year, which, I think he kind of got there this year. He was ranked 11th in standard, but when you look at his numbers then compared to those around him, he had 57 catches for 965. Everybody else around him in the ranks, 80 catches, 90 catches, 100 catches, they're all there. It's hard to sustain this kind of level with that few of catches. I know he's a big play guy, but if you look at his actual game by game numbers, it's nothing like you're really that excited about. And I just don't. I think a healthy Doug Baldwin is going to drop him a bit. Doug Baldwin not really being healthy this year is a big reason why Lockett jumped up like this. And 11th this year, there's no way he can be ranked. Man, I have no interest in him.
I don't either. And I think I have a very similar feeling to you, but he didn't make my top 5 list because I do see the opportunity for him to increase that role. Really, we always were like, if he stays healthy, we like him. And this was the first year he stayed healthy. He did get 10 touchdowns. He's not a big wide receiver. You do have Russell Wilson, which is always a plus. If Doug Baldwin doesn't return, if they, for some odd reason, don't get another wide receiver, he's kind of slotted in as their number 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I agree with you, but at the same time, I think everything is kind of going in his favor. So he didn't make my top 5, but he's definitely one that I stay away from.
Yeah, not going to get him.
Right.
He'll make the players to avoid list if we do that episode in a few weeks.
Correct.
So, all right. So my number 5. So who is your number 4?
Number 4, surprisingly, I actually was very surprised that he could even make my list. He was the 16th overall running back in standard. I have Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
He has less ground to fall than other players that I have on my list, but at the same time, he's an aging back, even though he did very well this year. He's on an offense I don't really like, and he also is going to have more competition with Geis coming back, hopefully healthy. Everything points to just stay away, even though he had a very good year.
He's my number 4 as well.
Wow.
Geis will be back. He's getting up there in age. I mean, we've written him off a few times now. So watch, he lands on another team right before the season and does the same thing all over again. Yeah, that's possible. I just can't see it happening. He's going to have to, at some point. I mean, a very good season. 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns for what we expected. So very solid.
I can't imagine a world where he is a viable running back next year.
I can't either. So yeah, definitely he's a player that I see falling off. So yeah, my number 4 as well. So that's it. We're already into number 3.
Moving right along.
This is going to be a quick episode. We're just getting through these guys. So how about number 3 for you, Jeff?
Number 3, I actually jumped to the quarterback position. Okay. So I'm all over the board. And I had to go with, not that I dislike him, but I had to go with Matt Ryan.
Okay.
Not that he can't do it because he's done it multiple times in the past, right? But it feels like it's every other year. And also, so he finished number 2 overall, only behind Patrick Mahomes, which is mind-blowing. Patrick Mahomes was a huge amount ahead of everyone. But the fact that you would say Matt Ryan was number 2.
It's crazy, actually, to think about. I didn't realize he did that during the season.
And also, you look at how crazy Julio Jones' numbers were in the second half of the season. A lot of touchdowns.
I do like Julio.
Yeah, and you do have Calvin Ridley. Great. You have Hooper. You have a lot of weapons on the team. But you will also get Devontae Freeman back, who is a very good running back. And I just can't imagine Matt Ryan. I think he is a bottom, near more like the 10. I mean, he jumps all over the place. I mean, I've seen him number 2. I've seen him 19.
I can definitely see him dropping from here.
Yeah.
2, yeah, I can't.
Yeah, so, I mean, it depends on how large you think the drop will be. There's so many other guys I would rather have.
I mean, there's a lot of guys that I would much rather have than Matt Ryan next year. Like Andrew Luck's going to be up there. Aaron Rodgers is going to be up there. Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson. I mean, all kinds of people. That's for sure. Right? There are quite a few guys. Matt Ryan just he never interests me. But that's a good season. 4,900 yards, 35 touchdowns, 7 picks. It's almost surprising how good he really was.
Yeah, he was tremendous. But at the same time, I think they needed him to do that. And with the running game, and hopefully they improve that defense, I see he returns to the role that he is asked to play. And it feels like that is going to be not as much of as a passing quarterback, even though he's a tremendous passing quarterback when they have to.
Yeah, that was a pretty good season.
Oh, it was awesome.
I mean, I didn't even really realize.
It was just too good.
He was up here like the top 5, but I just didn't get that that's where the numbers were. That's
and the
really solid.
The bounce around is what really
he's always
freaks me out, right?
He's only had 2 seasons like that in his career.
Right.
That's it now.
Exactly.
2 seasons. And other than that,
I was going to say, do you have it up?
No, I don't right now, but no.
I was going to say, let me, and just to make my point even more so, and I'll just talk about his rank as QB, right? And I'll just start from 2008 when he started his career. He was 15th and 19th. Then he started getting really good. 8th, 7th, 15th, 7th, 19th, 2nd, 15th, 2nd. So going up and down like that is crazy, especially when he only missed 2 games in his entire career. So it has nothing to do with injury.
No, it really doesn't. So yeah, I like that one. I didn't put him on my list, but I think that's pretty solid. So, all right, my number 3. And I kept him on my list. It's gonna be James White, but the standard, yes, definitely. He's gonna drop off. I mean, he dropped off. Sony Michel's gonna get all the carries, but then you see him get 15 catches in the playoffs last week. Where it makes me like pause and like, shoot, maybe he can do this, but it's just not a sure thing. It's not every week. Sony Michel's gonna get a lot more of it. And so for James White, let's see, in standard to be the 11th back, there's no way, right? No way next year. Not a chance. And even in PPR, he was, let's see here, the 7th back in PPR. He's going to have some good games. I'm not saying that. He's not going to be this. There's no way. And Sony Michel's going to take too much away. I just really feel like that's going to be, I mean, I have a hard time, because it's the recency on that 15 catch game, but I'm still going to go with it. James White. I'm just not buying it. Just not quite buying it. I don't know.
Yeah. So James White, jumping ahead, he is my number 1.
Okay, good.
And I was a big James White fan this year because of what happened with injuries and how they were using him. I thought it was wonderful. He finished number 11th in standard scoring.
Crazy.
I mean, it really is crazy. The year before that, even when they used him, and they used him a little more in the playoffs than when they had to, he was 48th. The year before that, 33rd, 49th. And on top of that, if you think that he is going to be a top 20 guy, even say, you have to believe that two things both will somewhat happen. Number one, you have to believe Tom Brady will be better next year than he was this year, which he's still a tremendous player, but he doesn't have to put up those kind of points in order to win. They're not going to make him, right? And number two, you have to believe that Sony Michel is not going to get the bulk of carries like he has been, and he's also not going to cut into that passing game, which I think is incredibly naive because of how good he looked this season when healthy. Yep. And also, they add people all the time, right? Burkhead got hurt. Yeah, what if he's still there?
He probably will be. He'll be involved. Crazy thing, I'm looking at like what he did in the playoffs last week. And in standard, he would have had 9.7 in standard. Mm-hmm. In PPR, he would have had 24.7.
Well, that's because PPR.
Yeah.
Not to get into that. And like you said.
I'll get into that some other episode.
I know. Well, the whole episode.
If anybody's ever dealt with me on Instagram, if they make that comment, I will make sure I always make the comment back. How can we value a system that rewards a 0-yard reception the same as a 10-yard run? That's stupid.
I know. We should do passing attempts too.
Every time they run the ball, you get a point. Same stupid thing. I'll give you a half point. If you want to play half point, play half point. Don't play full point. I'm going to get some hate for that. I always do every time. God, it just annoys me.
I know.
A 0-yard catch is worth the same as a 10-yard run. Really? I mean, really? God, I can't get on PPR right now.
I know.
That's a whole episode.
Go on a tangent.
That will be an episode. I'm going to make the schedule. That's going to be sometime down the line. Just a straight up episode of why PPR sucks and isn't as good as people say. Yeah. People think standard is like this dinosaur scoring.
I don't get it. I think he should be rewarded for, players who actually produce game winning stats.
I would like a point per first down more than I would reception.
Right. At least they're like, even if they get a 1-yard run and they got the first down,
that is something to do with the game.
You're contributing. But it'd be the same thing, not to go off on the tangent, but which we are. I also hate when you get bonuses. So a guy does amazingly well, and then on top of that, you get more points. What kind of crazy crap is that?
Yeah, 100 yards, you get like another 10 points.
Yeah, I've been in leagues like that, so you just pile on. It's really, really dumb.
So when you have a really good game, you're just automatically going to win. Yeah. It's just pointless. Oh man, we'll have a scoring changes episode. Get rid of kickers too. I hate them.
I'm totally on board.
It won't happen in our league, but I want it to. I want it to happen.
I do. I'm totally on board. No rhyme or reason to it.
Just hate kickers, man.
Yeah.
All right. So where are we at? Let's see. That was my number 3, James White. Your number 1, James
number
White.
1.
So you only have one more player left. So I should I'll do my number 2 first. My number 2 is actually going to be Ben Roethlisberger. He's my quarterback that made the list. And he was the number 3 quarterback this year. And I mean, a lot of this is just dependent on what's happening with Antonio Brown.
Yep.
And if Antonio Brown is gone, Juju's going to be good. But how can Ben Roethlisberger sustain this? No Antonio Brown, no Le'Veon Bell. I mean, the offense will still be solid, but I mean, James Conner and Juju are maybe they are comparable, I guess, to Bell and Brown, but he can't be this good. It's going to fall off somewhat. And the fact that he's how many years have we talked about Ben Roethlisberger possibly retiring already? He's getting, he's 30. He's going to be 37 years old. It's not that his 37 is not the same as like what Drew Brees and Tom Brady are doing. It's different. So I can see Roethlisberger dropping down a bit. I'll gladly take him in a league. I'll say that. I will still take him, but that's like beyond 10th. It's going to be like I'm going to be the last person to get a quarterback kind of thing and take a chance. I just don't see him being up at number 3. He's going to drop back down to that 10 to 15 range at the best for him next year. I mean, especially if he loses Brown, how is he going to stay up there? You can't throw every ball to Juju.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
yeah. I once again, I totally agree with you. I think he he's never really been this kind of quarterback throughout his career. He's had monster games and then he'll kind of disappear. So he always ends up kind of more of that 10 range. I mean, really in standard, in his 15-year career, he's only been in the top 10 4 years. So, you can have those really big performances of him. There's no doubt. But even say the last 5, just we'll add two of the top 10. But he was 5th overall as a quarterback, then 20th, 13th, 10th, 3rd. And on top of that, you make a very good point about health. Not that I always bank on that, but at the same time, when he's aging like that, and he's also usually misses a couple games per year, it's definitely something you have to consider. So I think that's a very good option as far as a fall-off guy.
Yep, I'm not like I absolutely hate Ben Roethlisberger. I'm not saying that. Just thinking the circumstances are going to dictate that he drops it.
Even though I love Juju and I like Connor, and
Juju's still going to be great.
Yeah, I like all those guys, but he will be losing if he leaves, which it looks like he will. He'll be losing the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Again, then it becomes to be, I guess, how good can James Washington be?
Yeah,
that's going to be an interesting player if Brown leaves. There might be overhyped. Honestly, I can already see it.
If Juju wasn't there, maybe, but he also didn't do anything this year,
so maybe he'll be overlooked.
I'll be very, very interested in him. I was very interested in him this year, hoping that they would throw it a little bit more his way.
All right. You're number 2. This will be your last one because James White's your number 1. So you're number 2.
My number 2, we're going wide receiver. I overlooked Tyler Lockett and I went with Robert Woods.
He was my second choice behind Lockett for a receiver.
Right. And so he is he's on a very good offense. You have Goff, who is up and coming, but they have a lot of options on that offense, which has helped him this year. Yep. There were also injuries, but he was also ranked the 10th wide receiver. There is no possible way he's going to be in a top 10, discussion again. I think there's no way. I think he'll be okay.
If Cooper Kupp comes back healthy right away, it's going to be hard for him to be up there, I think.
So, there's a lot of mouths to go around. Brandon Cooks is obviously the number 1 there. Like you said, Kupp. I mean, heaven forbid they actually start throwing to their tight ends a little bit more. It's just a lot of ways this can go bad for Robert Woods. And really, this was the best scenario possible with all the injuries and everything going on. So Robert Woods, he's a fine player. He's a good wide receiver. But thinking that he's going to be a top 10 guy, I wouldn't even rank him in the top 20, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think I will either. I'm never the biggest Robert Woods guy. He ends up compiling these numbers at the end of the year. But again, you look at his game by game and it's like, it's not that great. I mean, he had 3 100-yard games. That's it.
And they were all in the first 6 weeks.
And he had 3 touchdowns in the first 4 weeks. After that, he only had 3 touchdowns the remainder of the season. I mean, that's just not that impressed. No.
And that offense really went wild for a while.
Yeah, I'm not that impressed.
No, yeah, kind of like Tyler Lockett in a way where I'm like, good job. That was amazing. I'm glad you did it for the year. That production doesn't match his talent. And that is not a huge diss on Robert Woods by any stretch of the imagination, but you look at the other guys that are up here and, I mean, it is night and day.
Yep. All right. I have one last spot, my number 1. Who's it going to be?
Who could it be?
His name's Eric Ebron. He's just not good. I'm sorry. I don't care. He caught 13 touchdowns. Great. You still suck, Eric. You're terrible. You still drop the ball. You're still just really not that good. Wait till Jack Doyle comes back and see how much Andrew Luck loves you then. It's not going to happen anymore for him. I'm sorry. This is it. His good season. It's done. It's over. People are going to overdraft him. Jack Doyle's going to be better. That's it. He's done. All right. That's it. All I got to say. I guess that's not really reasonable analysis, but it's the truth in my mind.
Jack Doyle, he played in 6 games.
Yeah, see?
He caught 2 touchdowns.
Let's see you do that next year with Jack Doyle out there, Eric.
Yeah.
God, I still hate that guy. I really do. He's just...
I couldn't tell. You do?
Yeah, he's not my favorite. But all right, that's it. I don't need to talk about him anymore. So that'll be it. That's our Fall Off Players episode. We'll see if maybe we hit on a couple of these. I mean, funny thing is, I don't hate any of the players on the list. It's just, this isn't one of those years where it's like, this guy, I just really don't like this player. He's just, no, it's kind of like, yeah, they're just too high this year. They ended up too high.
Yeah, I think besides for Matt Ryan, but has been up there before, I just think these guys just overachieved this year.
And what we got in our we had 3 players on each of our lists. So James White made both lists, Peterson made both lists, Ebron made both lists.
And I'll be honest, like you could switch out Roethlisberger for Matt Ryan,
and you could switch out
Woods for Lockett.
Yeah, it's pretty
very similar.
So those are the guys. So that'll do it for this week. We'll be back next week we'll talk about some breakout players. We'll talk about guys who we actually think will get better. We'll stop the sad these guys are gonna suck episode. So we'll be back with some breakout players next week. Talk to you then.